With a 99% three-point shooting accuracy in basketball, even Curry would exclaim, "Devil." But even so, you still wander around the NBA, transferring to 8 teams because the head coaches wouldn't give you a chance. You haven't been able to make a name for yourself on any team until the last day of your 10-day short-term contract with the Lakers. The opportunity has finally come. At this time on the court, the Lakers are 80 to 110, directly behind the Warriors by a full 30 points, just like many previous games. The Lakers' offense is like constipation, and their 3 out of 18 three-pointers are even more glaring. On the other hand, the Warriors, their star player Curry has once again entered hot heaven mode, making 11 out of 15 three-pointers, single-handedly outperforming the Lakers' entire team in three-pointers. The game has reached the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. Seeing no hope of catching up, the Lakers' head coach has already substituted James and Anthony Davis and other main players. James is looking down, intently chewing on his fingernails. Anthony Davis, although his eyes are on the court, his mind has already wandered far away. In this environment, the head coach helplessly shakes his head, his gaze sweeping around before finally landing on you. This young man from the East, although his talent is average, has never gotten a chance to play for the Lakers. But he is positive and hardworking in training, and he is low-key and humble. The head coach likes you quite a bit. Plus, today is the last day of your 10-day short-term contract. He wants to give you a chance to perform. Although the Lakers definitely won't give you a second 10-day short-term contract, but if another team takes a fancy to you, giving you your next job isn't impossible. Although this probability is basically negligible. Thinking of this, the head coach waved at you and said, "Wang, it's your time to perform." Your attention has always been on the head coach. Hearing his call, you only feel a surge of blood rushing to your chest, and you stand up with a sudden jerk. It's been 3 months since you've been on the court. Finally, you are once again standing on the NBA court. Just then, a voice sounded in your mind. "Congratulations to the host for getting a chance to play for the Lakers. System activated. Reward. Supergod 3-point experience for 10 minutes. Your steps falter. Before you have time to think about it, the referee on the sidelines has already started waving. You have to quickly trot onto the court. At the same time, in the Tencent NBA live broadcast room across the ocean, the 2 commentators saw the scene. The commentator Shunzi said, "Our player Wang Yi has come on. Let's see how he performs." Without much introduction, it was just a simple mention. After all, you've been sitting on the bench in the NBA for 2 years. Everyone is familiar with your face. Now both commentators don't think highly of you. The live broadcast comments are full of abuse. "I saw this guy as soon as I entered the live broadcast room. What bad luck. He's embarrassing us abroad. He should just roll back home as soon as possible." Back then, when you first landed in the NBA, you received much attention. Domestic fans even blew you up to the sky. But later, because you injured your wrist during training and performed poorly on the court, plus many NBA coaches are inherently prejudiced against Orientals and don't give you opportunities, gradually you have been reduced to a marginal player. As a result, most of the domestic fans began to scold you. They couldn't wait to cast you into the 18th level of hell. Although there are also people who understand you, compared to those who criticize you, they are almost negligible. At this time, in the Staples Center, the Lakers are inbounding the ball. As a shooting guard, you come to the Lakers half after inbounding the ball. The Lakers players on the court are all players who can't get on the court until garbage time. Now that they finally have a chance to play, they naturally want to perform well. No one wants to pass the ball. In 2 possessions, all 4 of them attacked once each. None of them were able to score, but instead let the score widen again, reaching a difference of 35 points. Finally, during the 3rd Lakers offensive possession, the ball came to your hands at the 3-point arc. The moment you got the ball, you immediately perked up. You felt a surge of an indescribable power, as if you had been playing on the court for decades. Your feel and form were unusually hot. Seeing the defensive player facing you with loose defense, you didn't hesitate. You quickly jumped up with a standard shooting posture, even with a bit of a picturesque fadeaway. The basketball drew a beautiful arc in the air. Swish! A clean 3-pointer. Very beautiful. However, this shot hardly attracted anyone's attention. Relative to the huge score difference of more than 30 points, this one 3-pointer was a drop in the bucket. 1/3 of the audience in the stands had already left. Most of the remaining audience are chatting or playing with their phones. Across the ocean, in the Tencent live broadcast room, the 2 commentators are chatting, talking about the rankings of various teams. They didn't notice at all that our player from China had made a beautiful 3-pointer. On the comment barrage, there are many sarcastic friends. To be able to make a 3-pointer, he must have just gotten lucky. Don't even talk about luck. If he can make 2 more 3-pointers. I swallowed the dog shit. The game on the court continues. After the Warriors missed a shot, the Lakers attack again. After a mistake in coordination between two Lakers players, they almost got stolen by the Warriors. Fortunately, this ball accidentally flies towards you again. You are at the three-point arc again. After getting the ball, you don't hesitate at all. You rise up and shoot. You are in a hot state. If you don't try your best to perform, I'm afraid there will be no chance to play again after tonight's contract ends. Then don't even talk about pursuing your ideals. Life will probably be very difficult. Swish. The three-pointer slides through the net. Another clean shot. Another beautiful three-pointer. 86-115. The score is chased to 29 points. It's just that these few three-pointers still haven't attracted any attention from the audience. Only the Lakers coach claps his hands hard to give you encouragement. James also stops biting his nails at this time. He also claps his hands to encourage you. As the team leader, when he sees his teammates having a good performance, he naturally has to stand up and encourage them as soon as possible. Next, the Warriors make a mistake in their offense. The Lakers make a fast break. You bury your head and accelerate, running forward with all your might, positioning yourself in the corner. The Lakers' open spot wants to come up, but the Warriors' defense is also not slow. The Warriors' center is already blocking the way to the open spot. The open spot subconsciously passes the ball to you at this time. Pass to whoever's hand is hot. This is a basic common sense for an open spot. You still don't hesitate. You rise up and shoot. Okay, the three-pointer hits the rim. A muffled sound is heard. After bouncing on the rim, it hits the backboard. Then it balances on the rim 4 times before falling into the basket. 89-115. The Lakers are only 26 points behind. This time, a few audience members give scattered applause. Your continuous, crazy three-pointers in 1 minute still surprise them a little bit, but that's all. At this time, in the NBA live broadcast room, some fans start to jeer online. Another 2 three-pointers made. Where did the brother who said he would eat shit, drink urine, and eat dog shit go? However, the shit-eating brother has long been kneeling in the Staples Center. The Warriors coach immediately requests a timeout. Although this newly substituted Chinese player from the Lakers has scored several points, looking like a shooting star for the sake of insurance, he still has to explain it simply. Regarding the defense against this Chinese player, he calls all the players over. He points to the player among the players with the best one-on-one defensive ability, an afro head, and says, "You primarily defend that Lakers number 1. Force him to break through, but don't let him shoot three-pointers. Understand?" The afro head glances sideways at that oriental person with a hint of roguishness in the corner of his mouth and nods. "Don't worry, coach. I'll defend him so much that he'll be crying and calling for his mommy." While crawling back to the east. On the Lakers side, the coach simply gives the Lakers players instructions. "You guys help screen. Wang, if you have a chance, take the three-point shot. Don't hesitate." He is encouraging you, warming your heart, which can't help but feel a little hot. This is the first time since you entered the NBA that a coach has taken the initiative to arrange a tactic for you, even though it's just a simple screening tactic. But it makes you excited, so you nod heavily, with fiery light flashing in your eyes. At this time, the team leader James also walks over, pulls over your palm, gives you a heavy high five and says, "Hey brother, I like that three-pointer of yours. But I expect to see more." You nod, sticking out your chest, raising your head, and saying confidently, "You will see it." At the same time, in the Penguin Live broadcast room, 2 commentators are doing a game recap. Let's take a look at the Lakers players' scores. James, 23 points. Anthony Davis, 28 points. Wang Yi, 9 points. When saying this, the commentator pauses slightly. "Our country's player, Wang Yi, has actually gotten 9 points. Another commentator says, "He just made 2 or 3 three-pointers. Let me see." That's right, it's 3 three-pointers. 3 for 3. Good shooting percentage. 9 points. This is Wang Yi's highest single-game score since entering the NBA. We'll see later if he has any more three-pointers. But his wrist is injured. The last three-pointer he shot just now was a little bit forced. Maybe he won't shoot any more three-pointers after all. Too many three-pointers put too much pressure on the wrist. As they spoke, the game restarted, and the Warriors relied on a pass-and-cut play to score 2 points, widening the gap to 28 points again. Back on offense. The Warriors' afro-haired player was sticking to you like glue. The coach asked him to mainly defend Dongfang Lang, so he had to shut down this Dongfang Lang, and he kept muttering in his mouth, constantly spewing trash talk. "Dongfang Lang, with your fragile little physique, can you even still throw three-pointers? Thank you, rest assured. Toi si bam lay ban dai nu dia, keen ban fi kok lok nu den ba, ban chong them de wai den loi lu rac ruoi qua jie dao shu kia." After all, you always prefer to let your performance speak for itself. According to the coach's rigid tactics, you went around a screen, and once again arrived at the baseline corner. At this time, the afro-haired guy behind you had already caught up. You only had a momentary opportunity to shoot, but you didn't hesitate at all. A sudden stop, jump, raise arm, flick wrist, shoot. The whole action was done in one go. The whole set of movements was smooth and flowing. As smooth as Dove chocolate, the basketball passed over the fingertips of the afro-haired guy's block and drew an orange arc under the spotlight. Swish! A white wave rippled in the center of the hoop. A clean swish. You retracted your right hand and glanced at the afro-haired guy, a mysterious smile already appearing on the corner of your mouth. Another extremely smooth shot, and now you finally realized that tonight's hot streak must be attributed to the system's super god three-point accuracy. Knowing that it will go in as soon as you shoot, is this what it feels like for a three-point master? When shooting, you couldn't help but glance at Curry on the Warriors bench. Curry also glanced at you inadvertently at this moment. Seeing this, the afro-haired guy kept babbling behind you. Your opponent is me, don't get the situation wrong. Next, I'll defend you until you doubt your life, until you crawl back to your country crying. You didn't even turn your head, and replied with a rare sentence, I'll shoot until you shut up. It would have been better if you hadn't said anything, but saying this only made the afro-haired guy even more energetic. He chased you and kept spewing trash talk, and you didn't say another word, treating it all as hearing a few barks. At this time, due to your 4 3-pointers, the point difference had been narrowed to 25 points. From 35 points to 25 points. It seemed to happen in an instant. On the sidelines, the unnoticed players had all stood up. Even if they lose the game tonight, your 4 3-pointers in a short minute and a half, that's amazing enough. In the next round, the Warriors' attack failed. Kai Kong Ai Tensong, Ban de Bat Dao Doi Bong Nai Sao Kai Vua Kwa Vok Juasan. Mon Trin Dien Kwa Ban de Chin Fuk Moi 6 Tri Trong. The ball was naturally handed to you. The Warriors' afro-haired guy had already stuck to you, and with the help of a teammate's screen, you dribbled to a stop, and the afro-haired guy was blocked, slightly opening up some distance. You were still 2 meters away from the three-point line at this time. If you continued to dribble, the afro-haired guy would catch up quickly. So you didn't have time to think. A sudden stop to hold the ball, flick your wrist and shoot. Swish! Another three-pointer made. The point difference came to 22 points. In an instant, a third of the audience on the scene stood up and cheered. Although there were less than 3 minutes left, and the point difference was still more than 20 points, it was certain that they couldn't catch up. But this Eastern man's 5 consecutive three-pointers once again ignited their passion. This Eastern guy is so strong. Is he the Lakers' Curry? How come I've never seen him before? What's his name? He's a 10-day contract player for the Lakers, but I don't know what his name is. As soon as this ball went in, you felt your adrenaline soaring, and your confidence skyrocketed. At this moment, you felt that the hoop was like the sea. No matter how you threw it, the ball would obediently jump into the hoop. On the Warriors' bench, Curry's eyes flickered. As a historical-level three-point shooter, and a pioneer who created the small ball era, his fighting spirit was also ignited at this time when he met another person who made 5 consecutive three-pointers. He hoped to compete with this person on the court, but when he looked at the head coach shook his head imperceptibly. They were sure to win this game. There was no need to let Curry play again. In the next round, the Warriors missed another three-pointer, and it was the Lakers' turn to attack. After you crossed half-court, you asked for the ball again. The afro-haired guy had learned his lesson this time, and before you caught the ball, he hid 2 meters away from the three-point line, not giving you any chance to shoot. You dribbled the ball and looked at your right hand. The guy with the afro, seeing you seemed a bit greasy, immediately got excited and clapped his hands. He exaggeratedly gestured to you. Come on, if you have the guts, make another one. I bet $100 you can't make this shot. This kind of trash talk is a psychological tactic. Shooting, especially long-range three-pointers, is a scoring method that heavily tests mental fortitude. If the psychology changes even slightly, the motion will become distorted. If the motion is distorted, naturally it will be impossible to make the shot again. Hearing this, your fighting spirit was also aroused, and you continued to dribble the ball. However, you didn't move forward, but dribbled the ball and took 3 steps back. Your foot just stepped on the center court line, and the guy with the afro laughed, showing his big white teeth. A center court logo 3? Do you think you're Stephen Curry? Ha 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 ha. An Oriental? I think you're still asleep. At this time, the white commentator on the scene also chuckled. Oh my God! What is this Oriental going to do? Another commentator replied, he wants a logo 3. Can Chinese people also make logo 3s? Gotten cocky after making a few 3s in a row. Think he's Curry? The 2 commentators couldn't help but have a hint of sarcasm in their words. However, before they could finish speaking, you had already launched your shot from the center circle. You could only use more strength to embrace it, but the release felt excellent. You knew, This shot was bound to go in. After the shot, the basketball was still flying in the air, but you had already turned around, facing away from the basket, and raised your right hand high, extending 3 fingers, making a 3-point gesture. The basketball slid through the air in a familiar arc, and 1 second after you made the 3-point gesture like a cannonball, it slammed heavily into the basket. Swoosh. Logo 3. Complete. This 3-point shot. It was no longer a clean swish, but a powerful dunk, like a cannonball, rapidly gliding across the half-court. The basketball slammed heavily into the basket, and also into the eyes of all the fans in the arena. The entire stadium exploded in an instant. Oh my God, it's a Logo 3. My God, what did I just see? He actually turned around and raised his hand to celebrate in advance. That's so cool. The decibel level in the arena soared sharply. After all, a Logo 3 is too visually impactful. And after launching the Logo 3, without waiting for the ball to go in, he turned around and raised his hand to celebrate, such a showy move that even Curry had never done. Bandwagon fans changed their tune quickly. Just now they were ridiculing you, but now they're singing your praises. Moreover, their faces are flushed and their hearts are racing. On the big screen at the venue, the camera lingered on you for a long time, until, after a moment, it turned to Curry on the sidelines. Warriors coach Kerr also shook his head helplessly and looked at Curry. So, this is what it feels like when the opposing team has a Curry. Although Curry didn't move, there was a faint fiery glint in his eyes. At the same time, the Lakers bench all jumped up, the substitutes were waving towels vigorously, and several main players also jumped and celebrated with each other because of this shocking shot. Anthony Davis also stood up suddenly, a pair of thick eyebrows raised sharply, his big eyes full of disbelief. LeBron James quickly stood up, raised both hands and made a 3-point gesture, his face with exaggerated expressions, constantly repeating, "Oh my God!" Across the ocean, in various NBA live broadcast rooms, the 2 commentators were also excitedly shining their eyes. 6 3-pointers in 2 minutes. And a Logo 3. Oh my God. Too awesome. Amazingly awesome. 18 points. Our player, Wang Yi, scored 18 points in 2 minutes. This is simply beyond imagination. Because it was garbage time, most of the audience had already left the live broadcast room. The viewers who remained at this time also typed in the chat, "Awesome. 666. I'll go." Is someone about to rise up? After throwing the Logo 3, he even celebrated in advance without looking at the basket. "I also want such a handsome boyfriend." Of course, there were also some hater comments. He played in the NBA for 2 years, scored less than 100 points in total. Just got lucky this game and made a few 3-pointers and they're blowing him up? Just roll back. Don't embarrass us. Show some skill and make a few more. Keep a low profile. Shooting a 3 and celebrating with a turn is too arrogant. Your body is trembling with excitement. Your blood is also burning. Turning to celebrate immediately after shooting, many players have done that. James has done it, Curry has done it, but shooting a Logo 3 and immediately turning to celebrate, you're the first. You also preach keeping a low profile. But basketball is inherently an extroverted sport. On the court, you should show all your abilities and flaunt your personality. If you don't flaunt when playing, then why even play? Keep a low profile in life, play with flair. The Afrohead watched wide-eyed as the basketball slammed into the hoop and bounced on the floor. He stared, looking like he'd seen a ghost, speechless for a long time. You glanced at him, saying calmly, "Hey brother, don't forget my $100. The Afrohead finally snapped out of it and cursed, "Damn it, you Easterner, you pissed me off," but you had already turned around to retreat to the backcourt to defend. On the next possession, the Warriors' offense was stopped. The Lakers' point guard dribbled past half-court and passed directly to you. At the same time, he set a screen for you, intending for you to shoot a 3 after the screen. You were already a bit hyped up, waving your hand, saying, "No need." You signaled the point guard to clear out. The point guard could only shrug. He opened up space. You faced the Afrohead, wanting to beckon with your finger, but that's a provocative gesture and would result in a technical foul. You're not afraid of technicals, but a technical foul costs $25,000. For you, who only signed a 10-day short contract, that's a huge sum. So you suppressed the urge to beckon with your finger, instead saying in somewhat broken American English, "Come on, bro." The Afrohead was already enraged, striding up to you, legs spread, striking a pose of all-out defense. A mysterious smile crept onto your lips as your right foot suddenly stepped to the right. The Afrohead hurriedly followed, but you had already retracted your right foot and jumped. The Afrohead knew he'd been tricked, cursing inwardly, and quickly jumped to block. There was only a momentary touch, but he resolutely launched a three-pointer. Suddenly, all the players on the sidelines stood up and all the spectators also stared intently at the basketball. Swish! The basketball hit the net. At the same time, the Afrohead, because he lunged too hard, knocked you to the ground. The shot went in, the whistle blew, and the Afrohead was called for a defensive foul. The crowd was ignited again by this shot. 7 three-pointers. My God! In 2.5 minutes. 21 points. This scoring explosion is too exaggerated. This Easterner is too strong. How could someone this strong only sign a 10-day short contract? Quickly give him a guaranteed contract, or other teams will snatch him away and will regret it. At the same time, the two commentators were also roaring, "Wow! This is definitely one of the most exaggerated performances I've ever seen. So amazing. Truly amazing." Compared to these two commentators, the audience at the Chase Center had a much richer vocabulary and expressed their emotions much more richly. WTF. Holy crap. Holy mother. On the court, you looked at the Afrohead. You felt incredibly refreshed. The Afrohead's face was now as black as the bottom of a pot, no longer spewing trash talk, but silent. The guy he was guarding had scored over a dozen points on him in just over 2 minutes, especially this last shot, specifically asking him to come and defend, and then pulling up for a three right in his face. This was definitely not very harmful, but extremely insulting. How could he have the face to spew trash talk again? It's laughable that he just said he was going to send this guy crying back to the East. Now it's all gone to hell. Not only isn't he crying, but he's been beaten to the point of tears. After you made the free throw on the foul, the scoreboard suddenly read 97 to 112, only 15 points behind. From 30 points to 15 points, it seemed to be just a moment, 2.5 minutes. Trailing by 15 points, the possibility of coming back is almost non-existent, but with your crazy performance, who dares to be so sure? If you make 2 more threes, the point difference will be in single digits. The Warriors coach called another timeout. He was slightly flustered, yelling at the players going onto the court. Double team him, double team him. The Warriors players were stunned when they heard their coach's words. They all thought they had misheard. Double team him as soon as he gets the ball, force him to pass it to someone else. Absolutely don't let him shoot another three-pointer. The players looked at each other, considering that he only signed a 10-day contract. They couldn't even remember his name, yet they're using a double team? This is giving him too much credit. However, no one dared to question the head coach's words. So, after returning to the court, the Warriors followed the coach's instructions and immediately double-teamed you. The commentators were laughing. "Oh my God, did you see that? Did you see that?" Another commentator laughed heartily. "The Warriors are using a double-team strategy on him. This is definitely an honor for him." The audience was amused, but you couldn't find it funny. Even with the help of the system, your wrist was already injured, and dribbling was painful. Now, facing a double team, you had to pass the ball out as quickly as possible, hoping your open teammates could seize the opportunity. Unfortunately, both three-point attempts by your teammates bounced off the rim. But even so, you continued to run around screens, constantly looking for opportunities. In the last 2.5 minutes, you seized 2 more opportunities and hit 2 more three-pointers. Each time you made a three-pointer, the crowd erupted like a choral tsunami. Finally, when the halftime buzzer sounded, the score was frozen at 111 to 118. The Lakers narrowly lost by 7 points. However, the audience showed no signs of frustration. They kept chanting your jersey number, 1, 1, 1. Although they lost the game, they seemed happier than if they had won. The team leader, LeBron James, immediately came over. He hugged you tightly and said in your ear, "Bro, you really did it. 28 points in 5 minutes. Thank you for letting me witness a great performance." Anthony Davis also came over and gave you a high five. The Lakers lost the game but celebrated as if they had won, while the Warriors, despite winning, looked grim, even fearful, especially the head coach. He was sweating bullets. Leading by 30 points in 5 minutes, it should have been a dominant victory, but they almost got overturned. If they had been overturned, he would have been forever nailed to the pillar of shame, and the Warriors would never recover. As usual, after the game, the main players from both sides shook hands to show respect. The Warriors' main player, Curry, first hugged LeBron and Anthony Davis, exchanging a few words with them. Then, Curry walked straight towards you. A glint of fighting spirit flashed in his eyes as he said to you, "Your three-pointers are very strong." You immediately responded, "Your three-pointers aren't bad either." Signature elementary school student smile appeared on Curry's face. Although he had grown a beard, his smile was still so adorable. He truly deserved the title of cutest player. Curry added, I hope we can compete against each other on the court. You nodded emphatically, your eyes filled with fighting spirit. If possible, who wouldn't want to challenge the strongest player in their field? Just then, a teammate from the Lakers walked over to you and said, Wang, General Manager Pelinka is looking for you. Hearing this, your heart skipped a beat. Your 10-day contract had already expired. If the Lakers didn't want to re-sign you, they would directly call your agent. The only time the general manager would personally ask to see you beforehand would be if they were planning to offer you a renewal. LeBron James, hearing this, was also happy for you. He smiled and said, Wang, I told you, maybe tonight is the beginning of your good luck. You snapped out of your thoughts and quickly walked towards General Manager Pelinka's office. Pelinka was a very quiet, middle-aged man. He often stood at the far end of the stands, watching the team's games without saying a word. No one knew what he was thinking. At this moment, he was sitting behind his desk. Seeing you enter, he said, Wang, your performance tonight surprised everyone. With Lowry's injury and still not recovered, our guard position still lacks a player who can score. Are you willing to sign another 10-day contract with us? Pelinka spoke skillfully. He didn't say, we are willing to sign a contract with you, but, are you willing to sign a contract with us? The meanings are similar, but the former places the team in a higher position, while the latter shows more respect for the player. Although you had already anticipated, your performance on the court just now must have impressed the Lakers management, but hearing the general manager say it in person, you are still happy in your heart. Thank you, general manager. I think I have no reason to refuse. Being able to sign another 10-day short contract you feel is already good. As for a guaranteed contract, the Lakers will definitely not give it for the time being. After all, in about a week, the Lakers' starting point guard is Rod coming back. At that time, the Lakers' backcourt will be very crowded. Naturally, it is impossible to give you another guaranteed contract unless you can play extremely dazzlingly in the second 10 days. Thinking of this, you think of the system in your mind again. Your fist clenched secretly, and you heard Pelinka continue to say, this second 10-day short contract is $20,000. I hope this will satisfy you. You nodded immediately upon hearing this. Thank you, I am very satisfied with the 10-day short contract. Depending on the player's past performance, it ranges from a few thousand to tens of thousands of dollars. Your previous contract was only worth $18,000. This time it will increase directly to $20,000, which will make your life less tight. Coming out of the manager's office, guard Caruso is already waiting for you. Now you continue to stay at his home. So every time after a home game, he will wait for you. Wang, how is it? Is it a guaranteed contract? You shook your head. Short contract. Caruso patted your shoulder. It doesn't matter. As long as you can continue to maintain tonight's performance, I believe it will definitely be converted into a guaranteed contract. You nodded, without saying much, and returned to Caruso's house. After a simple dinner, you just lay down on the bed in the garage, and the cold electronic voice sounded in your mind again. Legendary Superstar System is activated. Training mission issued. Make 1,000 3-pointers. Mission reward, 3-point constant hit rate increased to 45%. This night, you stayed up all night, your mind was full of the system's sentence. 3-point constant hit rate increased to 45%. This reward is too exaggerated because a 45% hit rate is already a top 3-point shooter. As strong as Curry, his career 3-point shooting percentage is less than 45%. Looking at the entire history of the NBA, only Warriors coach Kerr has a career shooting percentage exceeding 45%. You never thought that the system's first mission reward. To ask what the Lakers lack most now, it is of course a stable 3-point shooter. DOP. Uzma, Schroeder, Tucker. Although they can all shoot 3-pointers, their hit rate is really a bit poor. In the small ball era, without a stable outside shot, the game will be very difficult. One can imagine. If you can increase your 3-point shooting percentage to 45%, that would be a terrifying thing. At 4 o'clock in the morning, before dawn, you couldn't wait to rush to the Lakers training hall. The security guard who was dozing off recognized you as a new Lakers 10-day short contract player and immediately let you in. He looked at the dark night sky outside the window. Couldn't help but mutter to himself, Easterners are so hard-working now. Arrived at the stadium. After turning on the lights and setting up the shooting machine, you immediately started doing the mission issued by the system. The sound of basketballs going into the net came from the stadium. At 8 o'clock in the morning, James also came to the stadium. He was obviously a little surprised to see you. After saying hello, you asked James to tell the coach that you wanted to practice 3-pointers today because the team currently lacks a stable 3-point option. James thought for a while and nodded in agreement. Disrupting the coach's training plan is definitely something you can't do right now. Only a superstar like James has absolute power. It's just that James usually doesn't abuse such power. Today he made an exception for you. At 10 o'clock, the other players on the team also arrived one after another. They were basically just waking up, seeing you and James already sweating profusely from practice. They were already used to it. The crowd followed the coach's plan. Start today's training. You have been practicing three-pointers in the corner. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, today's training is over. The players left one after another. You are only short of the last 11 balls to complete the task. James didn't leave either. He continued to stay and practice extra. Seeing you shooting three-pointers like crazy, he realized that you had been shooting all day. You didn't even eat lunch. James was shocked and stood there watching you, because your physical strength was almost exhausted. You shot these last 11 balls nearly 60 times. Finally, with the last three-pointer going in, the cold electronic voice sounded in my mind again. Mission completed. Three-point constant hit rate increased to 45%. You immediately let out a long breath and lay flat on the ground in a sprawling position. James and Caruso, who had been waiting for you, were both very quiet at this time and did not speak. After panting for a full 2 minutes, you tilted your head and smiled at them. Do you believe it? Tomorrow night's game against the Clippers. You can completely trust me. James and Caruso looked at each other, thinking of your 20% hit rate during training just now. They didn't understand where your confidence came from. At 8 p.m. on the fourth night, the Lakers game against the city rivals, the Clippers, was about to begin. Both teams' players were warming up before the game. On the Clippers side, their guard, Mad Dog Beverly, proactively asked the coach for the assignment. Coach, I'll guard James. Clippers coach Tyronn Lue thought to himself. He nodded and said, LeBron is yours. Mad Dog Beverly's eyes lit up upon hearing this, as if a hunting dog had seen its prey. Although Mad Dog Beverly is not tall, he possesses endless fighting spirit. Once on the court, he will tear at the opponent's key players like a hunting dog. Even a player as strong as the Grim Reaper Durant had been defended to death by him, leading to a confrontation, where both were ejected. Therefore, Beverly is generally used to defend the opponent's key players. Of course, another defensive stopper for the Clippers is Leonard, who possesses the death rap. But Leonard, as the core of the team, must conserve his energy, so under normal circumstances, Tyronn Lue will not let him defend the opponent's key players, especially since in Tyronn Lue's view, the current James is old and frail and it is no longer necessary to use Leonard's death rap. Soon the game began. You were still sitting at the very end of the bench. You were paying attention to the situation on the court, while also focusing some of your attention on head coach Vogel, afraid of missing the head coach's signal for you to play. The two teams are close in strength, and the game will definitely be very tense. Under these circumstances, the head coach is basically unlikely to risk sending you out. But as a professional player, you must be prepared at all times. The game began and the two sides exchanged blows. The Lakers have a huge advantage inside, so they focus on attacking the inside. The Clippers are strong in three-pointers, so they play to their strengths and shoot more three-pointers. At the same time, on the other side of the ocean, in the Penguin 10-cent live broadcast room, the commentator is well-known domestic media personality Sukun. The other host is Wang Meng, and there is also a functional host, Mena. Mena is a fan of James. Basically, whenever there is a Lakers game, she is the one to host the broadcast. Wang Meng first raised the question. In the last game, our country's player Wang Yi scored 9 three-pointers within the last 5 minutes, scoring 28 points. It was simply amazing. Teacher Sue, do you think she will play again in this game? Sukun flipped through the data while wearing a smile. Her performance in the last game was indeed amazing for everyone. The Lakers have renewed her 10-day short contract, obviously valuing her three-point ability. However, the two sides are closely matched in this game and it is likely to be very intense, so her chances of playing should not be great. Wang Meng said, Teacher Sue's analysis is very reasonable. However, we are still looking forward to seeing another explosive performance from her. At this time, many fans' voices had also appeared in the live broadcast's barrage. I hope Wang Yi can play. After Yao Ming retired, I stopped paying attention to the NBA. Yesterday I watched our country's players score 28 points in 5 minutes, and it was truly shocking. Of course, the number of haters far exceeds the number of fans. It was just that one game. They haven't won yet. You can't win games. Even if you score 100 points, you're just a stat padder. The last game was just good luck. No one was defending in garbage time. If someone defends her in this game, let's see if she can still be so explosive. Don't worry. It's not certain whether she'll even play in this game. At this time, you on the scene did not know about these things, and even if you did, you wouldn't care. In the past 2 years, you have suffered from the domestic haters. This garbage time move is also aggressive. James is getting old now, and her playing style is becoming more and more biased towards ensuring stamina. So in the first half, she generally doesn't attack much, and mostly stands at the arc distributing the ball. Fortunately, the Lakers' three-pointers today are considered decent. In the entire first half, they made 5 of 11 three-pointers. At the end of the first half, the two sides were only 2 points apart. However, in the third quarter, the situation on the court changed drastically. James originally planned to attack the inside in the third quarter, driving to the basket and passing out. However, the Lakers' three-point shooting fell into its usual constipation-like state again. 3 consecutive three-point attempts clanked off the rim. On the other hand, the Clippers made 4 consecutive three-pointers. The point difference instantly came to 14 points. Coach Vogel immediately called a timeout, emphasizing the defense against the opponent's three-pointers. However, only emphasizing defense is useless. The Lakers need to attack. But the reality is not so. After Zontaine came back, the quick pass team scored 2 more three-pointers. On the Lakers side, because their three-pointers aren't accurate, the quick pass team is adopting a shrinking zone defense strategy. James can't break through either, so the Lakers can only look for opportunities on the outside, but that's often how it is. The more anxious you are, the less likely you are to score. When there are 6 minutes left in the third quarter, the Lakers are already behind by a full 20 points. Lakers coach Vogel is intelligent, but there's nothing he can do. The best way to break a zone defense is known throughout the world. It's shooting three-pointers, but if you can't make them, it's tough. The atmosphere in the entire Lakers team began to sink. At this time, Caruso remembered what you said yesterday. You can completely trust me. Thinking of this, he whispered something in James' ear. James' eyes lit up and he looked at you. The big screen shows the Lakers trailing by 20 points. Start NB Live broadcast. The two commentators are also starting to come up with ideas for the Lakers. Wang Meng said first, Teacher Su. The Lakers are already 20 points behind. Look, Mina is about to cry. To make the game more exciting. And so Mina doesn't lose face. Su-kun, 2 points departing. Can you give the Lakers some ideas? Hearing Wang Meng's joking tone, Su-kun said with a smile, the Lakers' current problem is that their three-pointers aren't falling. The whole world knows that to break a zone defense you shoot three-pointers. The Lakers certainly know that too. Everyone saw that in these few minutes. Caruso shot 2. Kuzma 1, Tucker 1, Anthony Davis. James each shot 1. These 5 players combined are 6 for 1. If that kind of shooting percentage was on other teams, they would have collapsed a long time ago. It's only because the Lakers' defensive efficiency is good that they're only losing by 20 points. So their current problem is still solving the three-point issue. In this small ball era, if you can't shoot three-pointers well, it's difficult against any team. Wang Meng nodded. Teacher Su is right. If Coach Vogel were a little bolder and used our country's player, Wang Yi, would that be better? Su-kun said, that depends on head coach Vogel. I hope he doesn't do what he did last game and only put Wang Yi in during garbage time. You saw Wang Yi's explosive performance last game. Why not try it while the game hasn't completely slipped away? But the fans are also saying, hurry up and let him play. Of course, there are also haters who say, if the starters and the second unit can't solve the problem, you think putting in a fringe player will solve it? You're too naive. I told him a long time ago to roll back and not embarrass me. I see he's going to ride the bench forever. Coinciding with this moment, on the court, the Lakers called another timeout. James came to head coach Vogel's side and said, Coach, why don't? Before he could finish, Vogel nodded. Let him try. Vogel is actually a coach who is very willing to use people. He had already thought about putting you in. But seeing James and you communicating, he didn't actively bring it up, but waited for James to bring it up himself. James is the team leader, and his suggestion can make the players respect him more. This is beneficial for James to unite the whole team, and he also knows that this way, James will also have a good impression of him. Getting along with James, such a superstar, whether they obey the coach's arrangements, is crucial to the team's victory or defeat. From this, it can be seen that Vogel's EQ is definitely not low. He beckoned and called out, Wang! You, who were already prepared to play, sprang up like a spring. After a few quick steps, you came to the coach's side. Vogel said, LeBron suggested letting you play. I hope you don't disappoint us. Your heart suddenly burned. You nodded emphatically and said, don't worry. At the same time, a cold electronic sound rang out. Successful court check-in. Congratulations on obtaining a beginner's death rap experience card. You were overjoyed upon hearing this. 45% three-point shooting percentage. If I use the death rap experience card, doesn't that mean I'll become a top three-point shooter in this game? And that's exactly what the Lakers need right now. Thinking of this, you proactively speak up. Coach, after getting on the court, please let me be the primary defender against Leonard. Just now, it was Leonard's continuous breakthroughs that forced the Lakers to shrink their defense, which created many three-point opportunities. If someone can defend Leonard's breakthroughs, then the Clippers' three-point opportunities will be greatly reduced. Head coach Vogel was a little surprised because, according to his understanding, you have average physical talent. Your lateral movement speed isn't too fast, so your defense is also average. Now you're volunteering to defend the robot Leonard? Your eyes are firm and you say directly, Coach, just give me 2 possessions. If I can't defend him, then switch to someone else. Actually, your implication is that almost everyone who has defended Leonard has been tried. None of them can do it. In that case, it's better to let myself try. However, you can't say such things directly, as they could harm team harmony. The coach has to understand it himself. Vogel pondered slightly and understood your meaning, nodding. Okay, I'll give you 3 possessions. You nod heavily. Your fists clench tightly, and your gaze turns to Leonard on the Clippers' side, like a wolf seeing a robot sheep. After the timeout, you step onto the court with the Lakers players. The commentator can't help but say, the Eastern player who made 9 three-pointers in 5 minutes last game is on the court. Let's see if he can recreate the magic this game. Today is the Lakers' home game. The Staples Center fans are also cheering. Of course, not too many fans are cheering. Firstly, the team is too far behind. Secondly, for a fringe player who has only been here for a little over 10 days. Many people don't recognize him. In the 10-cent NBA live broadcast room, the haters see Wang Yi come on the court and jump out one after another. Oh, he actually came on. Here to embarrass himself again. Hopefully, there won't be another crossover incident. I really can't afford to lose that face. At this time, the Lakers are on the attack. After the ball reaches the front court, James is holding the ball at the top of the arc. The Clippers are still using zone defense, letting you shoot three-pointers. James scans the Lakers players without the slightest hesitation. He squats, raises the ball, jumps. His left wrist flicks as he releases. The basketball is in the air. Sliding across an arc like a rainbow, it goes cleanly through the net. Swish. The crisp sound produced by the basketball rubbing against the net is transmitted through the on-site speakers. The Lakers DJ immediately announces in a high-pitched voice, 3 points from Wang Yi. Wang Yi, listening to this drawn-out and not-so-standard voice, closes his eyes slightly. Enjoying this moment, James comes over and high-fives Wang Yi. Enjoy it, brother. Caruso also walks over. What you said yesterday was true. Clippers head coach Tyronn Lue sees Wang Yi's three-pointer, but doesn't care. Just one three-pointer. Death rap. Wang Yi hits the first three-pointer after entering the game. The Clippers head coach doesn't care. Neither do any of the Clippers players. Of course, they've researched their opponents and also know that Wang Yi in the last game threw in 9 three-pointers in 5 minutes. But such a super god performance happens once in a lifetime, and it's incredibly lucky. For example, Tracy McGrady's 35 points in 13 seconds. He could never have 2 consecutive games of such super god performance, so he didn't make any arrangements. When it's the Clippers' turn to attack, Wang Yi directly faces. Impossible, he says in his mind. Use the Death Rap Experience card. The system sound immediately comes, using the Beginner Death Rap Experience card. Single-player defense success rate, 70%. Duration, 10 minutes. In the next moment, Wang Yi feels that his foot speed seems to be a bit faster, and his lateral movement speed is also a bit faster. At this time, Mad Dog Beverly dribbles past half-court and passes it to Leonard. Wang Yi quickly gets into position, feet spread. Guarding Leonard, the commentators on the scene were quite surprised. What? This Oriental guy is going to be the primary defender on Leonard? In the 10-cent NBA live broadcast room, many trolls appeared in the barrage. This is suicide. He's going to defend the Claw? No way. Did he just get lucky and make 1 three-pointer and now he's feeling himself dreaming of defending Leonard? With his height, Leonard can completely ignore him. Either go head-to-head or use physical strength to break through. It's hard to stick to him. On the court, Leonard didn't choose to go head-to-head. That's not his preferred way to score. His favorite way to score is a pull-up mid-range jumper after breaking through halfway. At this moment, he quickly released the ball with his right hand, intending to break through on the right. Wang Yi, based on the movement of his shoulders, had already judged this point and moved his feet quickly laterally. Blocking his breakthrough path, Leonard saw that he couldn't break through and immediately used his left foot as a pivot. He turned right and intended to break through on the left. However, just as he turned and pulled the ball, At the moment the dribble landed, a hand quietly reached out. Intercepting the ball in the air, Leonard's dribble failed, and Wang Yi stole it on the spot. At the same time, a figure had already run to the front court. Wang Yi looked up. Seeing that it was James, he slammed the ball to the front court with his left hand. James caught the ball, dribbled once, took 3 steps, boom! A signature, powerful tomahawk dunk instantly ignited the entire arena. The camera on the scene showed James and replayed the scene of James' dunk. Again and again, but few people noticed that before this dunk. Wang Yi's steal and assist. But James won't forget, he returned to the backcourt. High-fiving Wang Yi, he shouted excitedly, "Brother! Nice job!" Leonard turned around and looked at Wang Yi, although it seemed like just a glance, without anger. But as a superstar, he has his own fire. "You stole one from me. I'm going to get it back on your head." Beverly naturally knew this too, and after dribbling past half-court, he wanted to pass the ball to Leonard. How could Wang Yi not know this? He adopted a fronting defense, not giving Leonard a chance to catch the ball at all. Beverly couldn't pass the ball to Leonard and had to pass it to George on the other side. George faced Davis's defense and failed to score, turning back. The Lakers attacked, and the Clippers still used a zone defense. Wang Yi ran very actively. Standing on the left corner outside the three-point line, playing with James, many things become very simple. As a three-point shooter, as long as you stand outside the three-point line, the ball will naturally come to your hand. Sure enough, James faked a breakthrough, compressing the opponent's defense. Then he passed the ball to Wang Yi in the corner. At this time, George had already pounced over. As a professional background board, George has been focusing on the background for 20 years and has many years of experience in being killed. Being killed by James, being killed by Lillard, being killed by Wade. Being killed by Booker, being killed twice by Butler, those who have killed him. Added up can circle the earth 5 times, of course this is also because his defense is too good. Usually, he is the one defending the opponent's last attack, but at this time, Wang Yi faced George who was pouncing over without hesitation and shot with determination. Swish! 3-pointer made. It was still 20 points behind just now. In less than a minute they had chased 8 points, only 12 points behind. The scene suddenly cheered, and the Clippers coach immediately requested a timeout. In the Tencent NBA live broadcast room, Wang Meng said in surprise, "Within 1 minute. 2 3-pointers. Is he going to replicate the magic of the last game again?" Su Kun was quite rational and analyzed, "That kind of magic, once in a lifetime, is lucky enough. It is basically difficult to appear a second time. But Wang Yi's 3-point shooting percentage, if it can maintain a relatively high level for the Lakers, it is indeed a timely help." During the timeout, the Clippers coach pointed his finger at Wang Yi and said to Mad Dog Beverly, "Mad Dog! He should play. I'll bite him to death." In American culture, a dog isn't a derogatory term. It represents loyalty. And the nickname Mad Dog isn't derogatory either. It refers to someone like Beverly, who possesses a near-insane fighting spirit and is also very loyal to the team. Regarding the game, he is always full of enthusiasm, so he finds this nickname very useful. "Don't worry, coach, I will bite him to death." After the timeout, the game continues. When Leonard attacks, Wang Yi continues his death entanglement on Leonard. This time, their coach made arrangements. Leonard finally received the ball with the help of a screen. But as soon as he received the ball, a ghostly hand slapped the ball. Thwack! The basketball suddenly landed. Leonard quickly fell to the ground to fight for it. Wang Yi had already lunged forward. Seeing Anthony Davis already sprinting towards the front court, he flicked the ball with his left hand, sending it towards Anthony Davis in the front court. Anthony Davis caught the ball and delivered another powerful dunk, causing the crowd to roar again. The commentator on the scene exclaimed in surprise, "AD's dunk is great. I love this dunk." But we can't ignore Wang Yi's defense. He has defended Leonard for 3 consecutive possessions. Being able to make Leonard suffer for 3 consecutive possessions is definitely rare in this league. Obviously, we underestimated Wang Yi's defense before. His 3-pointer is great, and his defense is also great, a typical 3D player. This is exactly what the Lakers need most right now. With James and AD, the Lakers' role players' jobs become very simple. Defense and 3-pointers. And these are exactly what Wang Yi possesses now. He is a perfect match for the Lakers' 2 cores. The Lakers should consider giving him a guaranteed contract, a real 3D player. Wang Yi heard the commentator's voice. 3D player? A meaningful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. His ambition is far more than that. With the system, his ambition can be limitless. Enter the rotation, become a starting player, a star, an all-star, a superstar, a legendary superstar, and even become James, or even a man who follows in the footsteps of God. This is his ambition. Of course, these lofty goals need to be achieved step by step. For now, What the Lakers need most is a quality 3D player. Then, he will temporarily become a 3D player. At least, he must first gain a foothold with the Lakers and get a guaranteed contract. At this time, the point difference has been narrowed to 10 points. The Lakers attack. After James dribbled the ball to the frontcourt, he once again feigned a breakthrough to compress the opponent's defensive space. While searching for Wang Yi, it's just that this time the Clippers were prepared. They used 4 people to defend the restricted area. While Beverly was specifically assigned to guard Wang Yi, Beverly, while sticking tightly to Wang Yi and making physical contact with him, was trash-talking. You just made 2 3-pointers. You think you're great? That's just because I wasn't guarding you. Try it now if you have the ability. Oh, I'm sorry. With me here, you won't even get the ball. Wang Yi knows Beverly's ability. He will constantly make physical contact with you while constantly trash-talking. To provoke you. Once you get angry, then he will succeed. So Wang Yi will not get angry. Moreover, he will not let Beverly entangle him like this. He took the initiative to go around Anthony Davis's screen. As a quality 3D player, you can't just wait for the ball outside the 3-point line. You must learn to actively go around screens and create open space so that the ball can reach you. Sure enough, Wang Yi went around and created an open space. James' pass also arrived at the first time. Wang Yi caught the ball outside the 3-point line. It's just that Beverly is relatively small. He quickly squeezed past Anthony Davis's screen and pounced directly at Wang Yi. Of course, at this time he wanted to block Wang Yi, but when he pounced at Wang Yi, his right hand slapped hard towards Wang Yi's face. Wang Yi was slightly startled, although he still shot the ball. But a fluctuation arose in his mind, and the basketball bounced off the rim. As for Beverly, his hand, 2 inches away from Wang Yi's face, abruptly retracted. There was no physical contact with Wang Yi. Wang Yi frowned. Beverly was known for playing dirty. So, he subconsciously thought that Beverly was really going to slap his face. Slapping his face would be okay. But if he pulled a green and tried to poke his eye, that would be unbearable. It seems that my mindset is still not firm enough. But you learn from your mistakes. Wang Yi couldn't fall into the same ditch twice. At the same time, in the 10-cent NBA livestream, the 2 commentators said one after another, "Sure enough, the magic is gone." That's right, but this is what a normal player should be like. The expected shooting percentage. Yeah, if every shot went in, that would be too scary. But when the haters saw Wang Yi miss a shot, they immediately jumped out again. Finally showing his true colors. His luck is running out. He shot well before only because the opponent didn't put any pressure on him. Look, now that Beverly is getting physical with him, he immediately can't do it anymore. His physique is also ridiculously bad. The mad dog just started showing his teeth, hadn't even bitten, and he's already falling down. Hurry up and roll back. You're embarrassing the Chinese people. Meanwhile, on the court, after Wang Yi missed that shot, he wasn't discouraged in the slightest. A 45% shooting percentage means not every shot will go in. Turning around, he once again faced Leonard's offense. This time, Leonard, with the help of their center Zubac screen, finally shook off Wang Yi's defense and made a mid-range shot. The point difference was back to 12 points. Wang Yi passed the ball in, and when James received it, he said, "Wang, do you still dare to shoot?" Wang Yi showed a confident smile. "As long as you dare to pass." James didn't know where Wang Yi's confidence came from. Wang Yi's form tonight was obviously not as hot as the previous game, yet he was still so confident. Could it be because of yesterday's training? James thought, as he dribbled the ball to the front court. Wang Yi had already bypassed Anthony Davis's screen and arrived at the left 45-degree 3-point line. At this moment, he was facing away from the basket. Beverly, like a mad dog, squeezed through the defense, relentlessly chasing. James's pass was already out. Wang Yi caught the ball, and while facing away from the basket, suddenly jumped, his body in the air. Turned around, his upper body leaning back, his right foot slightly forward. Maintaining his body balance, his left arm raised, and he flicked his wrist. Shot. This shot was no longer a beautiful arc, but a very flat trajectory. The basketball's flight speed was also very fast, like a high-speed flying cannonball. Bang! It slammed into the basket, and at this time, Beverly, who thought that Wang Yi would at least have to turn around before jumping after catching the ball, didn't expect Wang Yi to jump while facing away from the basket and only turn around in the air. He didn't have time to block it, and he heard a bang behind him, and the arena DJ's voice had already sounded, 3 points, from Wang Yi. Listening to this unfamiliar, strange Eastern name, Beverly swung his fist, and muttered, "Shit!" Then he continued to trash-talk Wang Yi. "Consider yourself lucky, but you won't be so lucky next time." Wang Yi smiled confidently, completely ignoring his trash talk. Beverly felt a little annoyed inside. He had defended many stars, And usually, as long as he trash-talked them and constantly provoked them with actions, they would get angry, and even their movements would become more and more exaggerated, which would be more beneficial to the Clippers. But this Easterner was different. He had been trash-talking him for so long, but not only was he not angry at all, but he showed a disdainful smile. This feeling was like a brat constantly challenging an adult's bottom line, but the adult just smiled faintly, because in his eyes it was just a brat after all. It must be said that, in addition to his fierce defense, Beverly's disruptive ability was also first class. Turning around, he dribbled the ball across the half-court, looking for Leonard. This time, that Easterner didn't stick closely to Leonard, but was a step away from Leonard, and his eyes were constantly watching Paul George. Should be preventing him from passing to Paul George. George relaxed his focus while backing down. He passed the ball to Leonard, but at that moment, Wang Yi suddenly darted out like a cheetah. It was just a method to deceive the offensive player, making the back-down defender think he was distracted by guarding George when he was actually paying attention to Leonard at all times. Wang Yi got the ball and quickly dribbled it forward with his left hand, and behind him, there was already a figure closely following, a death rap. Death rap versus death rap. Wang Yi got the ball and dribbled with his left hand in the league, running towards the front court. At the same time, behind him, a figure followed closely. This figure was the back-down defender. He was behind Wang Yi, chasing like a venomous snake. Wang Yi's right hand was injured, so he could only dribble with his left hand, making him slightly slower than usual. After crossing half-court, the back-down defender had already caught up with Wang Yi and kept reaching out from the side to interfere with Wang Yi's dribbling, constantly trash-talking. "You won't take another point from me." Wang Yi glanced to the side, and Caruso had caught up. This was originally a very good 2-on-1 opportunity, but at this time, under the pressure, it was difficult for him to pass the ball with one hand. So he made up his mind. "Since that's the case, I won't pass." When he dribbled to the three-point line, he suddenly stopped abruptly, gathered the ball, and jumped. The Mad Dog back-down defender didn't react in time and was directly shaken off by 5 meters. Wang Yi raised his arm and dodged. Shooting. It was still as smooth as Dove chocolate. The basketball left his fingertips, rotated backward, and flew towards the hoop. Swish. A clean swish. The point difference has been reduced to 6 points. Nearly 20,000 spectators in the arena suddenly erupted in cheers like a tsunami. The sound surged towards the court from all directions. Wang Yi, listening to this tsunami-like sound, was also feeling surging emotions. He turned his head to look at the back-down defender, pointing at him. His brow furrowed tightly. He looked at this Easterner in front of him and felt very unfamiliar. It's not like he hadn't played with yellow-skinned people before. In his impression, these people are not fast, don't jump high, and have a mild playing style. He used to disdain guarding such players. But today, how could this Easterner be so strong? He doesn't talk much on the court, but his playing style is explosive. Each three-pointer is like a sharp knife, directly piercing the hearts of the defensive players. However, this will not make him feel discouraged. He has been cut by NBA teams many times. He has gone to Europe to play many times. When playing in some exciting leagues in Europe, the scene is very chaotic. Away fans would swear at players, throw mineral water bottles, beer bottles, and even frozen solid tuna at the court. Under those circumstances, the back-down defender never retreated. Such a small setback is nothing to him. At this time, Clippers head coach Tyronn Lue requested another timeout. From the last timeout to this one, only a little over 2 minutes had passed, and the point difference had narrowed from 12 points to 6 points. Today is the Lakers' home game. If they get caught up, the Lakers' morale will be greatly boosted. It will be difficult for them to turn it around again. When all the Clippers players gathered around, head coach Tyronn Lue pointed at Wang Yi and said to Leonard, "You guard him." Hearing this, the back-down defender couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. That Easterner had aroused his fighting spirit. He was just wanting to have a good time with that number one, but the coach already distrusted his defense. But thinking about it, under his defense, that guy had hit 2 more three-pointers and contributed 2 steals. Can be said that within these 2 minutes, he was completely blown out by that guy. If he were the head coach, he would also switch to another defender. Leonard glanced at Wang Yi from a distance. He didn't say anything, just nodded. He has always been a man of few words. Leonard is just over 2 meters tall, but his wingspan reaches a terrifying 2.21 meters, plus those wing-like large hands. When he defends an opponent, it's simply the opponent's nightmare. As long as there is dribbling, his long arms and long hands will likely steal the ball. So his defense is called the death rap. Many good offensive players in the league. Even Leonard has been dunked on. As strong as James is, he has been bothered by his defense. So, once the opponent has a point with fierce offensive firepower, Leonard is usually assigned to defend. Lakers coach Kerr, like all the team members, should pay attention to the following points. We made a few three-pointers, but that doesn't mean our three-point shots are all open. In fact, only Wang Yi's three-point shots are open. So next, they will still adopt a four-man zone defense strategy. At the same time, they will still insist on having one-person chase and defend Wang Yi. So Wang Yi, you can't stop. Wang Yi nodded. I will run out of open space through screen plays. Kerr then tapped Wang Yi. You don't necessarily have to screen around teammates. You can also go through their four-man zone and get rid of the person chasing you. Wang Yi's eyes lit up. It's like having Clippers players screen for me. Kerr nodded with a smile. This will make their defense look chaotic. Their defense is chaotic, and our opportunity will come. Wang Yi also smiled and said, Okay, coach. James patted Wang Yi on the shoulder and said, Brother, whether we can turn the score around depends on you. Anthony Davis also patted Wang Yi's butt and encouraged him, I hope you can lead us to victory. At the same time, Tucker, who was replaced by Wang Yi, was a little lonely. If Wang Yi continues to perform so well, then his rotation position is likely to be taken by Wang Yi. But he also knows that this is the cruelty of competitive sports. If you perform well, you will enjoy all kinds of love. If you don't perform well, no one will lead you. Soon, the timeout is over, and the Clippers attack. Wang Yi continues to apply a death rap to Leonard. At this time, the Clippers' Paul George stepped up and hit a two-pointer. The point difference came to 8 points again. As the Lakers turned to attack, the Clippers still have a four-man zone defense. The remaining Leonard is staring at Wang Yi, not letting him catch the ball. The commentator on the scene keenly observed the situation. Oh look, Leonard is starting to defend Wang Yi. For a 10-day contract player to be defended by Leonard is already an honor. I don't know if he can still make those three-pointers under Leonard's defense. It's hard to say. Leonard is taller and stronger than Beverly. It will be difficult for him to continue to score three-pointers over Leonard. On the other side of the ocean, Wang Meng was a little surprised to see this scene in the Tencent NBA live broadcast room. Letting Leonard defend Wang Yi is an honor and a test for Wang Yi. Su Kun agreed and nodded. Indeed, if he can still play at a high level under Leonard's defense, then it will be of great help to his confidence. However, Leonard's death rap is not a joke. But at the moment, many haters who were just scared off by Wang Yi's performance are now active again. Before, it was just that Beverly was too short. Now that Leonard is defending, I guess this guy is in trouble. Death rap is not a joke. If he can score 2 3-pointers over Leonard, I will live stream eating shit. That shit bro is showing up again. Breaking the death rap. The game continues at the Staples Center. Like a robot, Leonard stared at Wang Yi, giving him no chance to catch the ball. Especially his pair of long arms and a pair of big hands waving in front of Wang Yi. It's like someone is constantly waving a small tree in front of him. How can Wang Yi catch the ball? There is no way to catch it at all. This is the painful part of the death rap. However, Wang Yi has already turned around and passed into the inside. Leonard naturally followed closely. Into the inside, Wang Yi ran into the Clippers' zone defense area, bypassing their power forward, and then quickly ran to the left corner to catch the ball outside the three-point line. Although Leonard is fast, he wants to bypass his teammates, but he is naturally not as flexible as Wang Yi. The teammates can't give him way at this time, because if they give way, their zone defense formation will be disrupted. Seeing that Wang Yi has already run to the three-point line, Leonard quickly pushed away his teammate and chased towards the three-point line. At this moment, Wang Yi already had an opening. He received Caruso's pass and directly raised his hand. Leonard was still 3 meters away. Seeing Wang Yi about to shoot, he jumped high. Like a big bird, he pounced towards Wang Yi. It must be said, his height, bounce, and wingspan, this talent is definitely top-notch. Even from 3 meters away, after jumping up like this, he can completely cover Wang Yi, making it impossible for him to shoot. But Wang Yi is not a fool either. This is just a shooting fake. After Leonard, like a big bird, flew over his head, he calmly took a three-point shot. Swish. The three-pointer hit. The point difference is only 2 points left. The scene once again erupted into a choral tsunami. The screen showed Wang Yi, who had just made the three-pointer. The on-site DJ's high-pitched voice echoed throughout the arena. 3 points from Wang Yi. Turning back, the Clippers attack. Wang Yi is still closely guarding Leonard. After Leonard received the ball, seeing Wang Yi still sticking to him, he dribbled to the side, while using his body to push Wang Yi away, intending to force a mid-range jump shot. But Wang Yi has the bonus of a death rap experience card. Reacting extremely quickly, after being pushed away, he quickly stepped forward to the right. At this time, Leonard had just raised the ball and hadn't jumped yet. Wang Yi swung his left hand in a circle. Slap. A big block right to the face, solidly blocking Leonard down. Caruso on the left side was quick to spot the ball and immediately got it, quickly pushing towards the front court. Wang Yi also quickly followed and ran straight towards the three-point corner in the front court. Beverly had already caught up. Caruso couldn't directly lay up. He glanced at Wang Yi in the left corner, immediately throwing the ball over. When Wang Yi received the ball, he was about to jump. Beverly had also chased back. He still faked the shot. Beverly was directly faked out, flying past in front of him, but at the same time, Leonard had also chased over. Wang Yi faked the shot again. Leonard was also faked out. At this time, if Wang Yi shoots, Beverly, who has reacted, will definitely block it. So he dribbled a big step to the right, avoiding Beverly's defense, and jumped. Dodge, shoot, swish. The three-pointer goes in. The point difference is only 2 points left. The excitement of this ball can be seen from the cheers and shouts of the audience. Beautiful. Too cool. Blocked Leonard and turning around. He successively faked out Beverly and Leonard, hitting a three-pointer. Integrated offense and defense. This is the 3D player the Lakers need. Now I'm starting to wonder, Leonard and Wang Yi. Who is the real death rep? The big screen on site repeatedly replays Wang Yi. The whole process from defense to offense. The commentators also kept calling out in surprise, Wang Yi. He is definitely the Lakers' biggest gain this year. Wang Yi's ball, integrating offense and defense. It's really pleasing to the eye. I don't understand. Such a player. How could he have been buried before? One commentator told the truth, because he is Oriental, unable to receive the attention of some coaches. Of course, regarding this issue, the two commentators wouldn't say too much, just mentioned it in passing. At the same time, in the Tencent NBA live broadcast room, the two commentators were also quite excited. Wang Meng said, "Today, Wang Yi's three-pointers are indeed not as explosive as the last game, but the integrated offense and defense he showed made people see his value." Sukun nodded. "That's right. If I remember correctly, since he started guarding Leonard. Leonard hasn't scored yet. Look at his defense, always sticking closely to the opponent, not letting the opponent receive the ball. Although his height is not as good as Leonard's, and his wingspan is not as good as Leonard's. But his drive is enough to be called the death rap." Wang Meng looked at Mei Na and said, "That sister should be happy now, right?" Mei Na smiled brightly and said, "Wang Yi's performance is really amazing. I hope he can break out soon and enter the Lakers rotation." Wang Meng, as the host, raised the question, "Teacher Su, do you think Wang Yi can enter the rotation lineup?" Sukun said, "If Wang Yi continues to maintain this high level, he is an absolutely high-quality three-point shooter. This kind of player is exactly what the Lakers need, so there shouldn't be a big problem for him to enter the rotation lineup. If he can play in the next game and maintain the state of this game, then a guaranteed contract is a sure thing." But some fans on the internet are saying, "Didn't someone just say that Leonard was going to crush Wang Yi? What about now? Yeah, where did all the haters from just now go? Come out and show your face. Where is that Xiangji? Didn't you say Wang Yi would live stream himself eating shit if he could make a three-pointer over Leonard? I'm waiting." The haters have quietly shut their mouths. That's how haters are. When you perform badly, they can trash you to death, but when you perform well, they will all shrink back and hide in their shells. Of course, there are also some haters who can't criticize your skills, so they will switch to another angle. It's not even halftime yet, who knows who will win, it's still early. If he were really that great, he wouldn't be wandering around the NBA for 2 years just playing 1 or 2 good games. And people are already praising him to the heavens. What an idiot. Staples Center. Wang Yi is defending Leonard again, this time with the cooperation of his teammates. Leonard finally completed an alley-oop dunk. The point difference is widened to 4 points. Wang Yi's jumping ability is average, and he is 10 centimeters shorter than Leonard, so this ball was really impossible to defend. Turning around, the Lakers are on the offense. Wang Yi runs into the Clippers' interior again, circling around the 4 opposing players. For a while, Leonard is very good at defending the ball handler, but he rarely defends against this kind of constant off-ball movement. You don't even have the ball, what are you running around for? In the end, the Clippers' interior was completely disrupted by Wang Yi's running, and then he quickly sprinted to the outside. Leonard learned his lesson last time and chased after him with all his strength this time. But Wang Yi bypassed James's body, and James handed off the ball to Wang Yi, who caught the ball outside the three-point line and shot it immediately. When Leonard squeezed past James, he stumbled and bumped into Wang Yi's side. But at this time, because of his strong confidence, Wang Yi shot extremely quickly, and the action was not fully completed when the ball was already released. First, the referee's whistle blows. Swish, three-pointer in. The referee gestures. Leonard committed a foul, Wang Yi's 3 points count, and he gets an additional free throw. Anthony Davis is injured, and under Leonard's chase. Wang Yi scores a three-pointer and draws a foul on Leonard, with an additional free throw. Wang Yi makes the free throw. The score is tied 86-86. It only took half a quarter to come back from a 20-point deficit to a tie. This scoring speed is terrifying, and all of this stems from Wang Yi's death rap, defending the opponent's key player, and at the same time his steals and multiple three-pointers have opened up the situation for the Lakers. The decibel level at the scene has reached its peak. Nearly 20,000 spectators are constantly cheering. For a time, the Lakers' momentum has reached its peak. Wang Yi looked up at Leonard only to see that Leonard was as he always was, expressionless, unable to see a trace of anxiety, unable to see a trace of frustration at being defended, and unable to see a trace of frustration at having three-pointers made over his head. He is like a emotionless robot with only mechanical defense and a mechanically precise mind. At this time, Clippers coach Tyronn Lue was also anxious when he saw the 20-point difference instantly erased, but he did not call another timeout. He had already used 2 timeouts in the past 5 minutes. If he continues to use them, he won't have any timeouts available in the critical moments of the fourth quarter. He could only shout from the sidelines, "Leonard, George!" Both of them turned to look at the coach, but Tyronn Lue didn't say anything, just stared at them affectionately with his eyes. The two naturally understood what the coach meant. Let those two figure out a solution. This is Tyronn Lue's usual coaching strategy. He used to coach James on the Cavaliers, and back then he wouldn't constantly ask LeBron for advice. He wouldn't constantly ask James about external matters. There was even a time in the fourth quarter when James was exhausted. When he was nearly depleted, he called 2 timeouts not to set up tactics, just to give James a breather. Only he could pull off such a ridiculous move. So, at this time, facing Wang Yi, the sudden defense and three-pointers, he was also a bit puzzled. He had to turn his attention to Rondo again. Rondo has been in the league for so many years and is already an old fox with rich experience. And his basketball IQ is extremely high. He once guided Cousins to defend the airball, which shows his basketball IQ. So it is not an exaggeration to say that Rondo is the team's coach. Taking advantage of the dead ball, he said to Rondo, "Whether we can win the game today depends entirely on you." Rondo naturally felt obligated. Without saying much, he nodded and walked towards the team. In the next few minutes, thanks to Rondo's activation, the team's offense opened up. On the Lakers side, because Wang Yi's three-pointers broke the opponent's zone defense, they couldn't defend the Lakers either. The scores of both teams were alternatingly leading. At the end of the third quarter, the scores of both teams were only 2 points apart. During the break, all the Lakers players almost came over to give Wang Yi a high five. Wang Yi was a little excited in his heart. He had been wandering in the NBA for 2 years before. When had he ever had such a scene? Those players, let alone high-fiving him. Some didn't even bother to look at him directly. But now, in just 2 games, almost every player on the team is high-fiving him. How could this not make him feel emotional? At this moment, James picked up a tablet, mysteriously patted Wang Yi's shoulder, and asked, "Guess your current stats." Wang Yi shook his head and said, "I can't guess." Just now, all his attention was on the court, focusing on playing every possession well. As for how many points he scored and how many three-pointers he made, he really didn't count. James handed the tablet to Wang Yi. Wang Yi looked at the statistics on it, 19 points. Scoring 19 points in just 8 minutes with 6 of 9 three-pointers made. 1 of 1 free throws, 19 points, 2 steals, 2 assists and 1 block. His plus-minus was +20. This was Wang Yi's terrifying effect in those short 8 minutes. 19 points in a single quarter, of course, is not much compared to those superstars. But his plus-minus was too terrifying. When he was on the court, the team won by 20 points. Wang Yi looked at this string of data and felt it was a bit unreal. How many times had he dreamed of being able to perform so well? But reality repeatedly gave him a heavy blow. Until today he finally played the performance he had dreamed of. Of course, this is just the beginning. His ambitions are much bigger than this. At this moment, Wang Yi looked towards the Clippers' resting area, his gaze fixed on Leonard. He had always heard of the death choke. Only after personally experiencing it today did he understand. Playing around Leonard is not because Leonard's death choke is not strong enough, but because he was being opportunistic. Leonard's death choke has a very strong pressure on the ball handler, and Wang Yi happens to play off-ball. If he were to hold the ball and go one-on-one with Leonard with his current strength, he would definitely be defended to the point of despair. He hopes that one day the death choke will no longer be a bonus given by the system, but will become his own inherent ability. Only then can he maintain the death choke for a long time, instead of the 10 minutes of the experience card. Soon, the fourth quarter of the game began. The Lakers let James rest, and Wang Yi didn't play either. He only played for 8 minutes just now, but it was extremely exhausting for his physical energy. Defensively, he had to use the death choke to deal with the robot Leonard. Offensively, he had to constantly run around screens and shoot three-pointers. Even if he were made of iron, they also couldn't withstand such consumption, so the coach didn't send him in at this time. Moreover, Coach Vogel also had his considerations. It seems that, through these 2 games, Wang Yi has proven that he is a high-quality 3D player. Such a player is best suited to partner with James, so he plans to wait until James is on the court before sending Wang Yi on at the same time. Without James, Anthony Davis carries a bunch of substitutes to support on the court. However, with Coach Long's organization, the Clippers' offense is very smooth, but the Lakers' substitutes continue to maintain their iron-blooded nature. Finally, with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Clippers gradually widened the gap to several points. At this time, the most deadly scene happened after a block. Anthony Davis suddenly clutched his stride, limping. Everyone's hearts suddenly rose, and the entire arena fell silent. The team doctor rushed up to help Anthony Davis move his left leg. After a moment, he helped Anthony Davis to the team doctor's office. Soon, the team doctor sent a message that Anthony Davis would not return in this game, and James' face began to turn serious. He came to Vogel, his tone with a hint of urgency. "Coach, I want to play." According to the normal rotation, this should be his rest time, but he can't rest anymore. Although this is just a regular season game, the 2 teams are city rivals after all, and the Clippers are the Lakers' biggest hypothetical enemy in the Western Conference playoffs. So, he must win this game. Lin Wei was ordered, Anthony Davis was injured, James requested to play, head coach Vogel waited and finally nodded. "Okay." Finally, his eyes fell on Wang Yi next to him. "Wang, it's your time to perform." Wang Yi's three-pointers are the most accurate in this game. James' appearance naturally needs to be paired with a Wang Yi. At the same time, Vogel said to Zhuang Xin, "Drummond, pay attention to protecting the rebounds, especially the offensive rebounds." Zhuang Xin nodded. "Understood." Since joining the Lakers, he has often sleepwalked, and only occasionally is he Drummond, so he also desperately needs to prove himself. Originally, he and James were incompatible. James' playing style requires all 5 players on the court to spread out, but Drummond has no mid-to-long range shots and cannot create space. But this game is different. Wang Yi's long-range shots can be trusted. If the opponent shrinks in the paint and doesn't come out, Wang Yi can punish them with long-range shots, and if they chase out, James will have space to break through. Soon, the 3 were substituted. At this time, all 5 Lakers players were James, Drummond, Caruso, Pope, Wang Yi. These 5 people, except for Drummond's slightly slower moving speed, have almost no weaknesses in defense. When Wang Yi came off the court just now, the experience time of death rap stopped, and now that he is on the court again, the time of death rap continues to run. He has 2 minutes of death rap experience time left. The Lakers attack. Wang Yi is still constantly running, looking for opportunities, and the person defending him has been changed to Paul George. PG's defense is also top-notch. Although he is known as the essence of human background boards, this precisely shows how strong his defense is, otherwise it would be impossible to defend the opponent's most critical figure at the most critical moment. Drummond is relatively large and provides high-quality screens. Wang Yi goes around his screen, temporarily getting rid of Paul George's defense. James' court vision is excellent. Seeing Wang Yi running into an open position, he immediately passes the ball. Wang Yi receives the ball at 45 degrees on the left side. Without making any adjustments at all, he pulls up and shoots. Bang! Swish! A three-pointer off the backboard hits, and the point difference is narrowed to 6 points. The game continues. In return, Wang Yi continues to impose death rap on Leonard. On the other side, James is closely guarding Paul George. Although James is old, he cannot defend for a long time, but the defensive pressure he shows in the important possessions is still quite terrifying. Caruso then goes to pester Rondo. After Rondo breaks through, he wants to pass the ball. Seeing PG being defended to death and Leonard being wrapped, he can only pass to Beverly on the other side. Beverly tried to shoot, but was deterred by Pope's pounce and didn't dare to. He could only dribble the ball back to Rondo, who organized the offense again, but saw that everyone else was defended to death. He had to force a three-pointer as the offensive time was running out. Bang! The three-pointer missed, and the Lakers continued their attack, with James grabbing the rebound. He passed it to Pope, who was fast-breaking, and Pope dunked the ball in. The point difference was narrowed to 4 points. In the next minute or so, the Lakers showed a high-intensity defense. The Clippers didn't score a single point, and the Lakers launched 2 waves of defensive counterattacks, plus James' free throws. And Wang Yi's three-pointer once again leveled the score. The Clippers were directly forced to call a timeout. The atmosphere at the scene reached its peak once again. When James came off the court, he gave Wang Yi a hard high five, and Wang Yi's left hand couldn't help but feel a sharp pain. You know, James is a freak with muscles even in his palms, this hard slap. Wang Yi's small physique, how could he bear it? He grimaced and whispered, "Are you old or not? Do you want me to injure my left hand too?" James laughed and said, "Don't worry. If you injure it, there's Karen." Inside the 10-cent NBA live broadcast room, because the point difference was tied, Mina smiled again, and Wang Yi asked with a smile, "Sister Na is happy now, right?" Mina touched her chest and said, "When Davis was injured just now, I was scared to death. I was afraid the Lakers couldn't handle it. Fortunately, it seems that the Lakers still withstood the pressure." Wang Yi nodded and said, "Injuries are the biggest enemy of athletes. I hope Davis is okay. Let's talk about the game. The Lakers just scored a few more points in a row. Why can the Lakers score? Tie the score without Davis? Teacher Su, please give us an interpretation." Su-kun pushed his glasses up and said, "In the past 2 minutes, the defensive intensity shown by the Lakers is very terrible, preventing the Clippers from scoring a single point." James turned on the decisive battle mode in advance. Caruso and Pope have both maximized their defensive level, although Howard's movement speed is a bit slow. But his deterrence under the basket is still very strong. What surprised me the most was Wang Yi. His defense has completely reached the top level. It may seem to everyone that Wang Yi didn't contribute much on the defensive end in these 2 minutes. No steals, no blocks, no rebounds either. But everyone pay attention. Leonard, who he mainly defends, didn't even have a successful attack in these 2 minutes. Also, everyone look at his plus-minus, plus 29. That is to say, when he is on the court, the Lakers win by 29 points. This data is the highest in the team. Getting to this point, I think it's worth it even if the Lakers lose in the end, because they have discovered such a high-quality 3D player like Wang Yi, which is what the Lakers need most right now. Of course, the premise is that Wang Yi's performance is stable enough. But currently, at this time, most of the haters have disappeared, especially that Xianggu who has long since disappeared. Of course, some haters can always find very strange flaws. Shooting with the left hand looks awkward, so they just criticize it. Tang Tran Nai Di Roy Hang Noi, Du Chi Beat Du Aveo So Lu, NBA La Noi de the Hien Ka Tin. He actually still has such an ordinary hairstyle, it's really so tacky. Staples Center. Lakers bench. Wang Yi took a sip of the terrible Gatorade. When the Lakers players' emotions were high, his expression gradually became serious. The time for the death rap experience card was over. Next. His defense will return to the previous ordinary level. Can this level still defend Leonard? Obviously not, but this game. He must prove himself. He must seize this rare opportunity to win enough playing time for himself. So no matter what, he must defend Leonard. And he doesn't want to become a waste who only relies on the system. Even if there is no system from now on, he will do his best to perform in a way that amazes everyone. Coach Vogel keenly captured that Wang Yi seemed to have undergone some changes in his mentality. He asked, "Wang, is there a problem?" Wang Yi shook his head. His voice was not loud, but it was very firm. Who to give the game-winning shot to? After the timeout, back on the court, the Clippers attack quickly. Wang Yi is still primarily defending Leonard. Since there's no more death rap experience card, then Wang Yi needs to defend even more desperately. Offense relies more on talent, but defense relies more on will. Even with average talent, if you play your heart out, you can still put up a very strong defense like Mad Dog Beverly. Wang Yi at this moment has made up his mind to play his heart out. When Leonard wants to receive the ball, he constantly goes around in front, interfering with him receiving the ball, and constantly engaging in physical confrontation. Although he suffers physically, constantly putting pressure on him also greatly drains Leonard's stamina. And when Leonard has the ball, Wang Yi constantly interferes with Leonard's passing, making him uncomfortable whether he's receiving the ball or dribbling. Being uncomfortable receiving the ball and dribbling will cause him to lose rhythm. And once he loses rhythm, his shooting percentage will drop. Sure enough, in the next few minutes, Leonard made 1 of 4 mid-range shots and 0 of 1 3-point attempts. As for Paul George, he was also defended by James to 1 of 3 shots made. On the Lakers side, Wang Yi's shooting wasn't as accurate as before due to massive stamina consumption. But even so, during this period he still made 2 of 4 3-pointers, hitting consecutive threes. Even Rondo, the coach, hit a 3-pointer. Ultimately, the suspense of the game was maintained until the final 28 seconds before the end of the game. 115 to 117, the Clippers lead by 2 points. The Lakers call a timeout. At this moment, whether it's the audience at the scene, the audience in front of the TV, or the audience in front of computers and mobile phones, everyone's heart is racing, palms sweating, Almost all the audience at the scene are standing watching the game. Many female viewers are holding their hands on their chests, silently praying with their heads lowered. On the big screen at the scene, the camera constantly focuses on James and Wang Yi. This next attack is extremely crucial. James is the team leader and a key player, the team's offensive engine. It's only natural for him to attack. However, Wang Yi's three-pointers in this game are terrifying. An 8 out of 12 three-point shooting percentage. Giving it to him seems no different. What to choose? In the Tencent NBA live broadcast room, Meina also nervously clasped her hands. Wang Meng said, "This game is great to watch." Sukun chimed in. "Great to watch." Wang Meng raised the question again. The Lakers' next attack. Its importance is self-evident. If they score, they'll take the lead. The Lakers will win the City Derby, and the Lakers' ranking will advance one place. If they encounter the Clippers in the future, they will have a psychological advantage. Teacher Su, what do you think? Sukun said with a smile. The camera language at the scene has already given the answer. James is definitely the first choice. If Wang Yi has the opportunity, he's also a good choice. But one thing, Wang Yi has only appeared in garbage time before. He has never played in such a close game, nor has he taken such an important shot. Can he withstand the psychological pressure and make the shot? That's the question. Wang Meng deeply agreed and at the same time looked forward with anticipation. Then let's wait and see. But above the barrage, the haters reappeared. Give me a break. Relying on him to make a clutch shot? James is going to pass the buck again. Everyone, perk up and prepare to catch the blame. Can Wang Yi bear this blame? With his small build, the atmosphere at the scene is heavy. Even during the timeout, people have no interest in watching the cheerleaders' performance. Even some of the Lakers players are starting to get nervous, especially a few players sitting on the bench. They are even holding their hands tightly, silently praying in their hearts. Caruso is constantly wiping sweat with a towel, pretending to gasp for air. James, at this moment, isn't too nervous. He's been through too many storms. Compared to that, today's game isn't much. At the same time, there's one other person who isn't nervous. Wang Yi. Not only is he not nervous, but his eyes are shining brightly, and his blood is boiling. Although his stamina has already been greatly depleted, at this moment, under the rolling heat in his heart, he can't even feel tired. He was excited, he was thrilled to participate in such a battle. His only feeling was excitement, which was his innate quality. From elementary school onwards, he participated in almost all kinds of competitions. Jump rope competitions, table tennis competitions, calligraphy competitions, English competitions, math competitions, sports meets. During competitions, most people would be nervous, even testing themselves repeatedly due to nervousness. But Wang Yi wouldn't. The more tense and fierce the competition, the more excited he became. He liked competition, he craved competition. This trait was something he was born with, and Coach Vogel also observed Wang Yi's excitement. He was quite surprised. He rarely saw this kind of player who, the more tense and fierce the game, the more excited they became. And often, these types of players perform better in crucial moments. He couldn't help but ask, "Wang, if I let you shoot this ball, what do you think?" Many players were slightly stunned. Wang Yi's performance in this game was excellent, but entrusting such a crucial shot to a 10-day contract player, could he handle it? You have to know, the more critical the moment, the greater the psychological pressure players endure. Under such heavy pressure, will his three-pointer still be so steady? Most people felt that for a 10-day contract player, this was unlikely. Not to mention short-term contract players, even many of the team's main players in crucial moments simply don't dare to shoot, so such shots can only be given to the star players. The coach asking me this at this time was truly unexpected. However, Wang Yi, upon hearing these words, didn't even pause for a second. He said without hesitation, "I think it's great." The others were even more surprised. Where did a 10-day contract player get this confidence? Doesn't he have any pressure at all? Naturally, Wang Yi couldn't explain that he became more excited at crucial moments. He only said, "I'm just a 10-day contract player. If I make the shot, people will say I'm cool, and all sorts of praise will follow. If I miss, everyone will just blame the person who passed me the ball, blaming them for passing such a crucial shot to a 10-day contract player, so the pressure is on you, not on me." His words left everyone speechless, and at the same time, everyone burst out laughing. In such a tense atmosphere, Wang Yi's words undoubtedly eased everyone's tension and allowed everyone to relax a little. However, James said at this time, "Wang, don't run any plays later. Just lie in ambush on the left corner three-point line. I'll drive into the restricted area with the ball. The Clippers will think that I won't give you such a crucial shot, so they will definitely double-team in the restricted area. At that time, I will pass the ball to you. Wang Yi nodded excitedly. Understood, crucial three-pointer. Many people say that James only passes the buck at crucial moments, but consciously ignore that he has the most game-winning shots in playoff history. He's just a different type of player from Jordan and Kobe. Jordan and Kobe are more focused on their own scoring. For the final shot, of course, they won't let anyone else take it, while James is more comprehensive. For the final shot, he will pass the ball to the teammate with the best opportunity at the time. Of course, if the best opportunity is him, he won't hesitate either. At this time, because Wang Yi's touch was hot, he decided to give this crucial shot to Wang Yi. Wang Yi stood up straight, with eager eyes. Okay, he only said this one word, but everyone could feel that this one word contained the desire for battle. Back on the court, the Lakers inbound the ball and James held the ball, and dribbled past half court. At this time, the Lakers were only behind by 2 points, so they could choose a two-pointer or a three-pointer. Wang Yi, according to what James said, stayed in the corner and didn't run any plays. The Clippers' head coach saw this, and felt a slight sense of relief in his heart. As expected, Vogel wouldn't give this crucial shot to a 10-day contract player, or perhaps this 10-day contract player couldn't handle such great psychological pressure and didn't even dare to shoot, so he didn't run any plays at all. Thinking of this, he shouted loudly from the sidelines to the player guarding Wang Yi. Pay attention to helping defend the inside, pay attention to the inside. James' three-pointers aren't accurate tonight. Based on Tyronn Lue's understanding of him, James will 100% force his way inside. Paul George nodded. He had been killed by James before. This time, no matter what, he cannot let James hit the clutch shot again. At this time, guarding James is the robotic Leonard. After a crossover, James separated from Leonard by half a body length, then used his body to squeeze past Leonard. He forcefully charged towards the inside. At this time, even though in the paint, there were already 2 people waiting for James, but Paul George was still uneasy and rushed over to help defend. Just as Paul George rushed towards James, James made an accurate pass. It suddenly went over Paul George's shoulder and passed to Wang Yi. Paul George thought to himself, "Not good." He quickly turned around and pounced towards Wang Yi again. However, it was already too late. When Wang Yi caught the ball, Paul George was already 4 meters away from him. Wang Yi shot as soon as he caught the ball, without even a hint of hesitation. The basketball slid across a high arc, falling towards the ground and the basket. Everyone's eyes were focused on the orange basketball. Clippers players and fans were all extremely nervous. Wang Yi's three-pointers this game were too threatening. This crucial shot at this crucial moment made them hold their breath. Under the gaze of nearly 20,000 spectators in the arena, the basketball finally fell onto the top of the rim. A loud clang of the iron was heard. The basketball hit the front of the rim and bounced high. Oh! Nearly 20,000 spectators at the scene all let out a sound of regret. The Clippers players, head coach, and their fans all breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that this Lakers #1 player ultimately doesn't have enough mental fortitude. Such an important moment, he didn't make the shot. This was perhaps the most crucial shot of the game. All Lakers fans who saw this scene were already cursing in their hearts. Why pass the ball to him? The commentators were speaking extremely fast, excitedly saying, "Oh no, why pass the ball to him?" It's undeniable that Wang Yi's performance this game has indeed been outstanding, but he has never played even 1 second of clutch time in his career and simply cannot withstand such enormous psychological pressure. James made a terrible passing choice. I wonder if James will regret this later? In the Tencent NBA livestream, the 2 commentators were also a little disappointed. Wang Yi's three-pointer didn't go in. What a pity. Sukun also shook his head. If this shot had gone in, it would have proven that he is a big-hearted player. It would have been crucial for him to sign a guaranteed contract afterwards. At this time, there was nothing on the barrage. Because after this shot bounced off the rim, the game was not over. In this suffocatingly tense moment, the haters were in no mood to jump out and spray Wang Yi on the court after this shot bounced high. For Clippers players were crowded in the paint, intending to grab the rebound, while Lakers players, except for James, were all outside the three-point line and had no time to grab the rebound. Soon, the rebound was grabbed by Clippers' long guidance, who intended to dribble. However, before his ball was put down, a pair of hands suddenly reached over from the side, directly grabbed the basketball and used force. He forcibly snatched the ball from Rondo's hands. A steal. This person was none other than Caruso.